In this presentation, you'll learn more about what our professional learning community has been up to in kindergarten and our action plan that we created to reach ultimate student growth in first sound fluency. The goals and objectives that we came up with at the very beginning when we created our PLC was that we wanted to identify our at-risk students early by analyzing data, specifically DIBELS data. We wanted to use that data to drive reading instruction. We wanted to come together more to discuss student learning and what we were doing in our own classrooms to improve student scores. We then came up with an action plan to promote student learning and to get some growth in first sound fluency. And then we wanted to progress monitor weekly and then come back and look at that data, analyze what growth we were seeing, and if we needed to change anything, discuss how we were going to change instruction. At the very beginning of our school year and the beginning of our PLC, we looked at the needs in our grade level. And we did that through looking at DIBELS data. And we saw a need in first sound fluency. When you're looking at the data in this pie chart, you can see that over half of our kindergarten students are not meeting the benchmark in first sound fluency. 40% are actually well below, 13% are below, slightly below, and then 47% are on or above benchmark. But because over half of our kindergarten students did not meet their goal for first sound fluency, which was just 10 sounds in a minute, we decided that this was a great need in our grade level, especially because looking forward at the middle of the year goal, it jumps so high. The middle of the year goal is actually 30 sounds per minute. So we knew that looking at our students who were in the red and their scores of mainly zeros, we knew this was a great need that we needed to intervene with quickly. So we decided that we would need an action plan, and it's important to have an action plan so that you know where you are and you know where you're going. You have concrete steps to follow, and it helps us be accountable. We all know our role, and we know that we need to do these things to improve student learning, which is our overall goal. Some of those student learning outcomes that we came up with were short-term and long-term. Our short-term goal were that our students who scored below benchmark would progress appropriately using their progress monitoring line, producing 10 first sounds in any given word in a minute, and then progress closer to the middle of the year goal of 30. The long-term goal that we set for our students would be that they would meet the benchmark at the middle of the year in January, producing 30 first sounds in any given word in a minute. So how are we going to reach these goals? We're going to have specific activities that help us reach these goals. We're going to have small group lessons 3 to 4 times a week with these students who are at risk. We're going to focus on sub-skills of first sound fluency. So we're not going to be intervening in first sound fluency. We're going to be intervening in phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, things that fall under first sound fluency. We're testing in first sound fluency, but we're intervening in these sub-skills. We're going to play phonemic awareness games, picture sorts, activities from the Florida website, and our Title I resources to help us reach these goals. So how are we going to know if we're successful? How are we going to know if what we're doing is working? We're going to be looking at our progress monitoring scores weekly. And if they're rising, we're going to know that what we're doing is working. And if our students are having an improvement in their understanding and their confidence is growing, which is so important in early reading skills, we're going to know that we're on the right track with these students and we're having some success. And this is an example of a first sound progress monitoring form from one of our students in kindergarten. So this is a great indicator of success. So they started off very low in the red, and now they're going up, they're very close to 30, which is the middle of the year goal. So this is a great indicator of success with this student. So it's important that we all know our roles and responsibilities in this action plan. Classroom teachers will be responsible for grouping students by skill level. So if a couple students are on the same sub-skill, that they would be in a group together. We're going to provide 15 minutes of instruction in the first sound fluency sub-skills. We're going to provide engaging activities. We're responsible for progress monitoring each week and collecting that data. And then we're going to meet every other week to discuss that data and to discuss what's working or what's not and what we need to do to get some more growth to help these children reach their goals. So to look at formative and summative assessments to see if what we're doing is working, we're going to be using progress monitoring each week in first sound fluency. And we're using that through M-Class and DIBELS. And then our universal screening is a long-term, and it's in January. So that will be our overall, our summative assessment. And that's going to be through DIBELS and TRC. So after realizing all these steps, we came up with our action plan. And it has our student goals at the top, short-term and long-term. Again, the short-term goal is to first reach 10 first sounds in a minute and then progress closer to 30 sounds per minute. The long-term goal that we will check in on in January is going to be 30 first sounds in a minute. So how to get here, we have 5 action steps. Our first step is to create small groups of students working in the same phonemic awareness skill. And the person who's responsible for that will be the classroom teacher. The resources that we're going to need is the PAST test, and that's a phonemic awareness skills test that we're giving to really figure out the sub-skills that these students are lacking in. And our timeline is from October to January. Our second action statement is to meet with students in small groups 3 to 4 times a week. So again, the classroom teacher will be responsible for that. And the resource that we need is small group time. Our third action statement is to provide students with skill-appropriate, engaging instruction. The responsible people for that is going to be our classroom teachers, but also all the kindergarten teachers, because we're going to be coming together every 2 weeks to share what's working in our classroom, to share some fun activities that might be helping our students meet their goal that we can share with other teachers. And then just some resources for that action statement, the Florida website, our Title I resources, and then sharing among teachers. Our fourth action statement is to progress monitor students in first sound fluency each week to track growth. Each classroom teacher is responsible for progress monitoring their own classroom. The resources that we need is our M-Class app, our iPad, the progress monitoring form that's inside the app. And then action statement 5, teachers will meet every 2 weeks to analyze data, track students, and share engaging activities. So all kindergarten teachers will be responsible for that, and we'll need PLC meeting time, data that we've collected, and then activities to share. So in hopes of meeting all of our goals and to help improve student learning, this action plan is already in place in our classrooms. It's been in place for a couple weeks now, and at the beginning of November, we are going to meet again to see which students are making appropriate growth and which students we're still worried about. And at that time, we might decide that we need to change some things. But for right now, this is our action plan, and our hopes are improving student learning.